Get fast, reliable internet for any budget. Now qualifying customers can get Xfinity Internet free through the Affordable Connectivity Program. That's right, free high-speed internet from Xfinity. And Internet Essentials customers can get equipment included at no extra cost. Get started today.
Want your boss to put some real action behind the rhetoric when they talk about making your workplace more inclusive? Find out how to hold their feet to the fire and demand diversity on the Diversity Dude podcast.
Hello, family. Welcome to the latest episode of the Diversity Dude podcast. Thank you again so much for taking the time to watch or listen to our program. I am your host, Tom Barnett with the Seminole Group. And in today's session, we're going to look at the difference between mentoring and sponsorship. And depending on where you are in your career, which one you need to focus on or work on. But before we do, we always like to go over recognitions for the week. So this week, recognition, Jack Roosevelt Robinson, or Jackie Robinson, as most people might know him. On April 15th, that's going to mark the 75th year since he broke the color barrier in his debut with the Brooklyn Dodgers. And Major League Baseball is going to be celebrating Jackie Robinson Day. For those who aren't aware, it's a day in which all players, coaches, and managers throughout Major League Baseball wear Jackie's iconic number 42. This annual tradition was initiated for the first time on April 15, 2004. So let's celebrate his history, his struggles, and his triumph, for he's truly Black excellence. So today, mentorship and sponsorship. What are they and how do we utilize them? So mentoring and sponsorship are powerful tools for personal success and growth, as well as building strong workforces. And although they share similarities and are somewhat related, they aren't. A lot of people make this assumption. And so we're going to spend some time today making sure that everyone knows the difference between the two, as again, they are both important, but depending on where you are in your career, could and should dictate which one you need to exercise. So mentoring, what is it? So in the workplace, it's simply the relationships between someone sharing knowledge and providing guidance, that's the mentor, to someone learning from the person's experience and example. That's the mentee. So what are some examples of that, Tom? That's navigating the organization you work in. Who's who and why. We all know when we're doing our onboarding, the 101 organization charts that they give you. So a mentor, for example, kind of helps you in understanding who's who on those org charts. It's institutional knowledge of your workplace. It's an extension of their own network. Said in a nutshell, it's corporate America 101. Time management, how to dress, how to make an agenda, the importance of making deliverables, etc. Now, mentoring is usually done in a one-on-one setting, but it can be done in group dynamics. Now, the challenge here and that most companies don't get right, but what they should, and this should be non-negotiable when setting up mentoring programs, is that they should be what's called a cross difference. What that simply means is it's someone that doesn't look like you. So why is this important, you say? So when you have people that don't look like you, you get a shared personal experience. You increase your overall awareness, you increase your education, as well as improve your overall empathy. These are all crucial to building and sustaining a diverse culture within the workforce. So when you think about the things that I just talked about, sharing personal experiences, increasing awareness, education, and empathy, all of these will be improved and increased if you do these properly. And if there's a cadence or there's a routine to it. But the keys to success in doing this from a mentoring standpoint is that it's up to the mentor to create a safe place and an environment that the mentee can share. And that these sessions are important. I can't tell you how many times I've heard over the course of 6 months going into a program, the mentee never met with their mentor because the meetings were canceled. The mentor has to be intentional and has to make these very important and keep them on their schedule. Things come up, things might get adjusted and moved, but to not to have them is inexcusable. And a caveat or a public service announcement when it comes to the mentors, that in most formal mentor programs, mentors should go through a very vigorous process where they get screened, because everybody's not cut out to be a mentor. And this is a two-way street. as a mentor can learn and should learn from the mentee as well, from their life experiences and knowing their story, why those people are who they are, and what makes them tick. So as we talked about mentoring, that it is rare today that formal programs do exist when it comes to just setting up mentoring programs, but most companies strongly encourage associates to what's called manage your career. And when you're managing your career, they truly want you to seek out mentors to assist you throughout your career. Now, again, this is usually done early in your career as you're getting your footing. But always remember this, we always need guidance and coaching along the way. So always seek good, solid counsel as you navigate your career. That's mentoring. Sponsorship. What is sponsorship? It's a precious commodity that's rarely obtained, but know that it does exist. Now, sponsorship is not to be confused with paid endorsements or sponsorship that you might see LeBron with his newest Nikes on. It is not that. This sponsorship stems from strong and successful mentorship and the gradual progression. So think of it as mentoring 2.0 with perks. That perk is received because a key indicator or a criteria has been met, as this is crucial now. The mentor sees evidence of growth and self-accountability in the mentee. I can't stress this enough because it's at this point that the mentor can become an advocate for the mentee. I stress this point because this is the sweet spot or the zone of your career. So for those of us who've ever played sports and you've ever been in that zone where you went 6 for 6 in a game, or you hit 35 points in a basketball game, or whatever it was, this is that point in time in your corporate life that when you're in the zone. Said another way, you have air cover or corporate protection as much as you can to some degree. This is hard to come by. And just like being in that zone in sports, that most people don't see it, some rarely do. They get there, but you don't stay in it. And so in the corporate environment, most people never achieve it as well. But just know that it does exist. And I've been blessed and fortunate to have received it early in my career as the management associate at Bank of America. Shout out to Sam Bass, Charles Brummett, and Bobby Townsend. So all those names that I just mentioned, they didn't look like me. They were from a different generation, but they took the time to be intentional in getting to know me. And they also learned from me. And in doing this, they found that we had a lot in common. Now, furthermore, as I mentioned those 3 names, what was really cool and unique about those folks is they represented 3 levels of executive management that actively participated in my career and my well-being, from my pay to my relocation to my assignments, ensuring that I was set up to be successful. Remember the Glass Cliff episode? As I truly felt at some points in time that I was at a John Wick assignment, but they gave me what I needed to be successful, and they were active participants throughout all of my projects. I saw at an early age what this should look like, or early in my career, I should say. And 2 of those 3 names, Charles and Bobby, are very much still what I would call active participants in my career as well as my life. So they have become very much part of who Tom Barnett is because of the involvement that I have with them early in my career, and I thank them for that. As much as I mentioned that, that was my early experience. Now, again, I was very blessed and fortunate to have that type of sponsorship in my career. It does exist, but I've seen quite the opposite since that was probably 25 years ago. But I know that it can be and should be a best practice of companies if they are truly serious when it comes to the recruitment, the promotion, the retaining of talent, and especially talent of color, especially Black women of color, is they are over-mentored and under-sponsored. So the objectives of sponsorship, again, the sponsor is doing more than just sharing their experiences and knowledge because they feel personally invested in the advancement of the protege. They do this by the following. They expand the visibility of the person within that organization. They're directly involved in the protege's experiences that will provide opportunities for career advancement. That's through talent planning, promotions, special assignments. And most importantly, now this is muy importante. They pound the table. They speak on your behalf when you're not in the room. Because let's be very, 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 let's keep it 100, as the kids would say. Don't be fooled that this happens. Those things that happen in the room where there's more times than not a lot of representation that looks like us, you need to have that advocacy there in that room. And that's where representation matters. Now, the most important point that I want to make sure, and I hope to make when explaining sponsorship and why it's so vital and not easy to obtain, is that the sponsor is putting their reputation and their professional brand behind the protege. It's a huge risk to the sponsor, and it's pressure on the protege to succeed. Now, saying all of that, there does need to be a call to action in the corporate space in corporate America. There needs to be more formal programs, because as I had mentioned, there's not a lot that still do those formal mentoring programs. But there needs to be more formal programs. There has to be criteria for mentors, because as I had mentioned, and we've all probably experienced where you may have been matched up, or you've seen it just, hey, everybody can't be a mentor that might be successful. There needs to be a screening process. You need to make sure that you match people up, but that has to happen. And also there has to be metrics of success. You'll hear me talk about all the time that through all the initiatives, all the things that might get done, where projects fail is that as they're set up, or as initiatives are set up, they're not set up with a framework to where you can measure success. So that has to be done. And then sponsorships should start at the top. You heard a couple of weeks back, we talked about General Motors and all the work that they've been doing. They're very intentional, and it starts at the top. And as I mentioned, you got to be intentional, and you have to set that expectation. So hopefully you can see the difference between the two, is that they're very important, the mentoring and the sponsorship. But again, depending on where you are in your career, you might need one or the other. But always know that you need to be able to strive to have that good counsel around you to be able to not only bounce ideas off of, but then also just to be able just to continue to navigate your way around whatever your corporation is. But there's so much work to be done in this space. I just encourage everyone that is in the space that wants to do more, just to remember that if you are serious as it relates to these work efforts in DE&I, and I say it every week, so I know I sound like a broken record, but awareness, education are necessary precursors to action. If you are a DE&I head, if you sit on a diversity board or a committee in corporate America, if you're a city leader or a civic leader or educator, anyone with DE&I responsibilities that wants to not only move the needle, but sustain results, email me at tom.barnett@seminolgroup.com. Let's kick up the conversation and let's make some stuff happen. So as we always say, stay safe. Make sure that you all have your vaccinations. Be blessed. Respect Rachel Robinson, Jackie's wife, who's approaching 100 years old. She truly exemplifies the idiom behind every great man is a great woman. She is Black excellence personified. Y'all be blessed and be good.
Tune in each week and find out how to demand and implement diversity at your job. To hear more, check out previous Diversity Dude shows on ShelettaMakesMeLaugh.com.
My son's about to graduate high school and he wants to go to college, but I don't have the money to pay for tuition at one of those big time universities. And I don't want him to be strapped with student loan debt trying to get a degree. So he's going here to Doherty Family College at the University of St. Thomas. The school is designed for families like mine who have a higher financial need. Believe it or not, you won't pay more than $3,000 a year on average for tuition. And get this, laptops, textbooks, meals, and even Metro passes are free. Sound too good to be true? Well, it ain't. That's not even the best part. Doherty Family College at St. Thomas offers a 2-year undergraduate program with small class sizes, so your child will have the personal support they need to be successful. At Doherty Family College, they'll treat your child like family. Do what I did and check them out at dfc.stthomas.edu. Set up a tour today. You'll be glad you did.
We change our minds every day. About 1 million things a day. This is no different. You can't be afraid to be wrong. You can't be afraid to say, you know what, I'm just going to rethink this thing. People are not dying getting the vaccine. I better rethink this thing. I'm going to go call my doctor and have a discussion one more time. It is okay to change your mind.
OutSchool provides live online classes for kids. They offer academic classes as well as interest-based classes. The topics are so cool. Everything from art and fitness to physics, mindfulness, food, history. A lot of these topics are things that are not taught in your regular school. Check out their amazing classes. Your kids are gonna love it.
Children's Minnesota, the leader in specialized healthcare for kids, is here to raise awareness, standards, the bar, the stakes, the question, the curtain. On raising kids' health to the highest priority, kids need equal access to healthcare, more pediatric expertise, a voice for change. Kids need us, all of us. So let's raise them up. Children's Minnesota, the kid experts.